Those are some of the things we're trying to do to make sure that like there is some connection to, you know, a historic Dracula, so that you're having fun, you're having fun with the movie no matter where you come from.
Personally, I like when horror films are not straight horror films, you know, when they come up with different elements than the ones we are used to watching on traditional horror films. And in this case, we have comedy and action. But I think in the case of Dracula, it can be like tricky. What is the process for taking such an iconic figure like Dracula and putting him in a comedy and an action context?
Well, I think you really nailed it. I mean, I was going to say, you know, you have to find a way to still ground him in the world or a feeling of the world that people are familiar with. So we went, you know, from production design standpoint, went to great lengths to, even though he's in modern day New Orleans and he's, you know, maybe down on his luck a little bit, we wanted the abandoned hospital to have a feeling of a castle, to sort of be appointed with some of the things you associate with Dracula, so that it had candelabras and old paintings and stuff that they had maybe sort of secreted from one location to another. And even the way we arranged like the blood bags behind Dracula, we wanted that to feel like a throne, or to feel like something that had, you know, the feeling of royalty. So we, and I also, I'm of the opinion that New Orleans is basically the only kind of real European city in the United States, so that it's got, you know, it's got French and Spanish, you know, influences and that sort of thing in the architecture and that kind of thing. So there is this old world feeling. There is this, you know, quasi dangerous feeling there in the way that, you know, New Orleans feels at night, and the history of Anne Rice novels being written there. So I wanted connections to that, and that's also why we wanted to shoot Nicolas Cage and Nick Holt in the black and white. We wanted to composite them into the old Todd Browning movie, so that you did have a connection to some of those things, so that because it is also fun and funny to see them there, but it is also kind of an homage to the past and, you know, our all of our history with Dracula and vampires. And that was, you know, so those are some of the things we're trying to do to make sure that like there is some connection to, you know, a historic Dracula, so that you're having fun, you're having fun with the movie no matter where you come from.
And personally, the thing that I want the most out of a movie-going experience is I want to be surprised and I want to be taken off guard. So we didn't want to give you the kind of Dracula movie that you expect to get. We wanted to give you something that would be unique and exciting and different, so that when you're in that theater and you're watching that movie and you're surrounded by all those people, you're experiencing something new and something different for the first time.
There's so many Dracula adaptations in the mainstream media, so what made you think we need to reinvent this thing? Because I know you're such a horror fan and you have done it before with zombies, that we have many adaptations. But what is the process for like sitting and going, well, I think I can refresh this a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, you know, Dracula is one of the most iconic characters that's ever existed. So getting an opportunity to do anything with it is super exciting. But, you know, there's always that goal to try and find a way to make things different and try to keep things engaging. And I think that, you know, using Renfield as a lens through which to see Dracula in a different light, I think provided that unique angle that helped us make everything different. The fact that there's so many different Dracula stories doesn't just mean that there's this drive to make things different. You also don't want to compete, because a lot of those Dracula stories are amazing. Yeah. And so you want to find something that you can bring to the table, that we can bring to the table, that gives an audience something to latch onto and say, okay, I like this Dracula because, and this Dracula is different from those other Draculas because, and then it becomes something special and memorable in its own right.